What is up, everybody? My name is Splattercat. Welcome back to Zubmariner, where we've got, oh my god, there are so many angry creatures over here. I don't know how I feel about this. There's a thalid on that side. There's one of those little neither things over there. Apparently, it's going to be very difficult for us to get to Igul. This is like the center of the world for monster activity. Jesus, we'll go around them. It'll be okay. We're going to saw on these bones for a minute, though. The Z has not been kind. The colossal skull is intact, but the body has been reduced to a gnawed frame of bones. Carvings have been scored into the bones. We get toxins. I'll just go with the Stygian Ivory since it's easiest. I don't want to take chances on anything else, especially since we're kind of at the beginning of a voyage right now. I don't want to play around too much with any of the random stuff that can go wrong. What is that right there, and why is it lit up? I'm curious. What is that? Huh. I wonder why that was lit up by comparison to everything else. Let's go to Igul. Because we've got to go. Oh, we got another achievement. Hooray! Yay. I love achievements. They make me happy. I don't know why they make me happy, but they do. God. When they added that shit to World of Warcraft, it added another year and a half to my subscription. It was just me dicking around with achievements from then on in. Back to work. They're bitching about the shit down in the hold again. It's what they do. They complain. We got Terra plus 5, but we got 100. Oh, good. We got 100 fragments, which is pretty awesome at this point in the game because we're not really getting a whole lot of fragments anymore just because we've already explored everything and done most of the original or the initial locations. In Igul, we can look for a fierce philanthropist's husband. Go for it. He is not. And you can cross the port off your list and on to the next. Okay, that's fine. We can bribe a first mate with solace fruit. The crew can't show you around. Well, let me get my port report first. What happens here? The crew can't show you around. First mate keeps the hatch keys. They rarely leave the engine room, but they'll come out for solace fruit. The first mate's features are softer than the average Londoners, as though they become part of the rubbery man. Their skin is marked in dozens of places with shiny, calcified ovals around which the skin is reddened. You offer them solace fruit and they receive it reverently. They don't eat it in front of you, but withdraw through a hatch that is usually kept locked. They are gone for a long time, and far off you hear a man's deep laughter. It is a surprising sound in the whispering ship. At last the first mate returns, fingers stained. The Kettle was a research vessel. Now the first mate sometimes engages in research on the fluke spines that pierce the ship. This room is blocked by a thick spine at waist level. The spine is purple-black, but the crew have been working at it with planes, grinding away a silvery powder. The powder is collected on mats and sieved into bottles. Our export, the first mate explains. It all goes to Station 3, but that's not what we've come for. The first mate touches the spine, and for a time the spirit is absent. From then on, from one of the few patches of unmarked skin, they grow needle-shaped protrusions and snap it free. A memento of what I saw when my mind was with Igul. The Needle of Fortis, expressions of the first mate's grief at exploring the bitterness of Igul. Okay. So if I consume a needle, press the spike into your flesh and know what it knows. A little worse than a tattoo, surely. Consume 3 needles. A person may embrace a cactus and yet survive. So I can help pack the exports, or I can ask the first mate for help, finding the regret of the sensitive brother. The Imperious sister awaits an answer. She has set a rendezvous at Hunter's Keep. The first mate leads you through the hatches usually kept locked down to the depths of the Fortis Kettle. They begin to limp more evidently the further you descend. At last, you come to an engine room where a spike of Igul jabs through the hull. The engine is thoroughly destroyed. Its furnace is cold. Its great wheels will never turn again. The surface of Igul is exposed to your touch. It shimmers. We make it beautiful on purpose. There is a shiny silver patch on the spike. We allow the silver to be harvested. Touch it with one hand. Touch our face. The tunnel is skin tight. You descend face first. The wall presses to the back of your head, urging you downwards. You should not have come. The entry point of Igul is regret. No one enters Igul without it. So we can surface or we can go deeper. Sure, go deeper. There is a scent of green bitter things of fermentation. Cactus pulp renders an acceptable wine. Someone once died in a desert and you are traversing the cause of their death. They have lived long enough to regret. Here is the memory of a dying man seeing a vulture overhead. The sky. I mean, we can try and go deeper. I don't really know if we should. We'll surface for now. And you nestle them in straw. Don't worry too much if you touch the powder, the tomb colonist said. It looks poisonous, but there's no harm in it. First mate uses some of it to make the needles and then sells the rest. The colonist obviously does not approve of the first mate's regret collection and clarifies with only a little prompting. Maybe I'm the wrong person to ask, the tomb colonist says, but there's no need for wearing the scars of other people's wounds on top of your own, as if summoned, the first mate comes out of the engine room fresh spined. So we've lost tear and we gain another needle. So what happens when we consume them? You remember a woman who had persuaded herself into marriage. She never fell in love with someone else or betrayed her husband or did any of the usual things. She lived a dusty life and wondered whether she even had any appetites to satisfy. Faintly overlying this is the first mate's reaction, pity, annoyance, and a tangle of feelings about a different broken relationship between themselves and the wounded captain. This place is weird as all hell. I don't know what's going on with this place. Looks like for Foxfire candles, we can trade motor salt. Can sell dark drop coffee beans here. Solace fruit, we can get some memories of lost shores for, torpedo components. Yes, please, sir. Stack them on. And then now that we've done that, I would suggest we head back down to the south. And we'll follow the coast a little bit. We'll go out to Crying Heights and see what we find out there. But I'm going to surface for now. The terror that we're taking is a little bit too much. I'm really excited to finally make this big eastward passage, like I sincerely am. I'm really, really excited about doing this because I want to know what's down in that corner over there. We've got something below the water off and over on that side. We could keep our terror really, really low if we make for the shore. However, there are creatures down here that are a little bit unpleasant, so we would have to watch out for that. But I think we would stand a chance against them in combat, so I'm not that worried about it. Back to work. They're still bitching about the things down in the hold. I don't have a live specimen, do I? Oh, I have a live specimen. That's probably what they're upset about then. Cool. I didn't know that I had a live specimen right now. That'll cause the terror to creep up a little faster than I want it to. Ah, well. So to the Crying Heights we go. We'll actually have to go straight eastward, I guess. Going southward is just going to make us take even longer to get to the same place that we are trying to get to. On the horizon, a sickly yellow light glimmers. The Crying Heights, where blue prophets call the names of those about to die. The blue prophets are these birds right here. I don't remember if they're dangerous or not. Oh, he's still attacked, even though we canceled out his attack animation. Oh, it's once they start the animation, you can't stop it. Okay. Well, then we'll try to stop it early this time around. Oh, shit. We're in trouble now. There we go. And the blue prophets are down. They did a pretty good chunk of damage to the hull, though. A mortal battle against parrots. That's the Elder Continent for you. Record their cries, or we can recover feathers. They sell in London and in Khan's Heart. Let's recover feathers. We have 60 royal blue feathers. Pluck them carefully. All right. That doesn't count as cargo, does it? No. I think they sell for like 2 echoes a piece or like 1 echo a piece or something like that. I remember having to spam the button when I got back to London after I killed a bunch of those. I had like 300 of them on me, and I was like, oh man, and I had to sit there and spam. Yeah, they hit us pretty good. We probably want to be careful about that. I would try to avoid this second crop over here. This is probably oh no, it's a light ship. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll go around the Blue Prophets and then we'll swing down southwards. And hopefully we'll find a port with which to gain refuge. I'm going to try and trade away some of my terror, which I think I can do for stories. Or I'm sorry, snippets of whatever. If you speak to the crew, yeah, you lose 5 terror and you get a Z story. So there we go. They will also sell you fuel at like a really, really high price, but we don't need it for right now. It looks like the wax wind is blowing over here. It may be safer for us. Well, We need to cut south. We've got a bit of a storm in the way. In fact, the storm is perfectly in the way, which is actually kind of irritating. Hopefully it'll dissipate. Oh, good. We got a pirate ship to deal with, too. Even better. He's got all kinds of problems today, don't we? Well, I hope you don't enjoy torpedoes, because that's all you're getting from me. Got supplies and fuel, which is mighty, mighty nice. And then we've also found 5 more supplies. Hooray. I'm just going to weather the storm. We're going to go southwards and kind of see what we can do here. I mean, essentially this storm is getting in the way of, like, the only objective we had to accomplish. So if we can just kind of, like, skirt along the edges of it and make our way back down to Adam's Way, I'd be okay with it. This is also an opportunity for us to uncover a whole bunch of new areas, too. And I do think that that's wise. A Republican dreadnought. Oh, shit. Wow, he was still able to put rounds on us, huh? That was from deep, too. Ah, and the engine explodes. A chancy challenge. Failed in the challenge and lost a crew along with 75 hull. Fantastic. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it goddamn well pours, doesn't it? Alright, turn the light on. We got Port Livingston over here. There are no islands in range. I should probably avoid running into shit anymore. Adam's Way. It looks like there's actually a settlement down here. Probably a place where there's lamplighter bees or something of that kind. Our hull is too damaged right now for me to repair it, so that's no longer an option. That is what it is, I guess. Oh, the port is over here. Okay, well, we found Apis meat then, which should be an interesting place to put in. We've got plenty of terror remaining. We've got everything but hull, actually. This is the first very, very dangerous journey that we've been on. I'm going to try and keep myself away from fighting because of it. Let's see here. On a bed of monumental ruins, warehouses, and way stations of shroom timber rise. All ships that approach Adam's Way are intercepted by the gracious, the Presbyterian splendidly headdressed coast guards. A quaint but inviolable tradition governs entry. You must tell them one of 3 stories. In return, you may be permitted to spend a single day in the port. I suppose I'll go with an unfinished tale since we don't have any other choice. The log ends immediately after an intriguing discovery. Did the captain survive? Did she return to her sweetheart? The gracious are unconcerned. Endings always disappoint, don't you think? The day has just begun. In the town square, a yellow-robed priestess plants a seed in a bed of black soil. No sooner has she patted down the soil than a tiny shoot pokes forth. By mid-morning, it will be a sapling, and by lunchtime, a tree. By the evening's end, it will wither and fall, and you must be back on your ship before then. Okay. We've got a little bit of time, so we're on 1 right now. We can visit an exhibition of Presbyterian curiosities. We can listen to a storyteller. We can assist at an animescence hospital. We can get a commission from an avuncular broker. Sit by the tree of a single day and let the hours pass. Let's go look at the Presbyterian curiosities. You head towards the bright tent. The signs advertising this entertainment bristle with exclamation marks. In person, he is much more circumspect. We can give them shore leave for 20 echoes. We can visit the grotesquerie. Attend a cabinet of curiosities. Let's do that. A sign outside the tent reads, reveal for the first time innumerable mysteries of the interior, profusion of Presbyterian secrets to perplex and petrify. A case catches your eye. It is labeled The Covenant. Here is a plaster cast of one of the tablets that stand at the mountain's foot. A helpful plaque furnishes a translation. The prester saith, when I die, yet shall I not die. The hour of my death shall be chosen, yet no man shall choose it. I am eternal, and yet my reign is circumscribed by law and fate. I will feast at my funeral, and my child shall be my cupbearer. Got 50 free fragments and a memory of distant shores, so that's pretty cool. We'll leave. Let's go to the cabinet of curiosities, I guess. Actually, we already did that. Grotesquerie. It barely fits in the cage, but a skeptical eye would notice that the cage is too small for the occupant. To create an impression of barely constrained hugeness, if the creature could stand, it would be what? 8 feet tall? 10? Exceptional, but not monstrous. Its skin is grimy, its hair lank. Above its nose is a swirl of scarred tissue, a single eye seared closed. Was this the very Giganta? Blinded by Odysseus, the showman wonders? We cannot say, of course. Okay, so we got a memory, a terror, and some more thingies. Shore leave! Some see the sight, some experiment with the hot honeyed wine of the elder continent. Still others pay furtive visits to a shadow tent whose sign promises the perfumed, pantherine dances of exotic south, performed to authentic and rousing music twice hourly. Strippers! We gotta leave pretty soon. What else is there? Let's go ahead and attend a feast, I guess. A public square, gathering of the bereaved uncannily cheerful, a table shining with cutlery, white china plates, and tall glasses. You move closer for a better look. The replete occupy lofty positions in the Presbyteriate's military. Despite their sanguinary past, they dine with the Prester and send the children to be educated at London's university. However, they maintain their tradition of eating their dead. The feasts are held in public. Here in a broad square stretches a splendid table. The departed was only a distant relative, some great aunt or second cousin, and the atmosphere is jolly. Servants carry the deceased over in steaming joints, cooked to perfection, perfect pinkness. A stately mourner stands, already wobbly from the wine. Shall I carve? I don't know how I feel about this. I'm going to observe. A plummy anthropologist cranes her neck for a better view. This isn't normal here, you know, she tells you, noticing your interest. The other nations of the Presbyteriate think they're crackers. Still, I bet the Prester finds them useful. The threat of imminent cannibalism must facilitate no end of diplomatic negotiations. A salt cellar passes along the table, napkins dab at mouth corners. The anthropologist is warming to her subject. I hear the practice began when one of their forebears sailed to the far north. I may have to take a trip that way and see what it's like for myself. All right, we'll return to the ship, I guess. And that's that. Why are foreigners only allowed to spend a single day at Adam's Way? For your own protection, one of them explains kindly. The soil of the elder continent is dangerous to incomers, they claim. Those who linger can contract unfortunate conditions, hysteria, rapture, and animescence. And the rumors the Presbyterian law allows no protection to foreigners after dark. Errant nonsense. Okay, well, I guess we'll leave then. You're all out of time here, and we gotta wait for it to reset. Hopefully we can avoid getting shot again. I probably would have turned out better if I just fought that ship instead of running from it. That may have been an unfortunate mistake. We'll follow the coastline, and if we find anything dangerous, we'll try to steer away from it. If we find anything cool, well, I guess we'll mark that down too. Let's kill the lamps. It's probably that same pirate ship trying to take us out. Yeah, I don't think we're really going to be able to mess with the Republican dreadnought, though. So, Point Livingston. We'll go ahead and turn on the light while we're down here to keep terror low. Hunger's getting a little bit higher, but fuel stores and everything else are looking absolutely fantastic either way. Send out the bat. We don't know what might be around here. There are no islands within range. A buttery bloom of light on the southern horizon. You approach Varkas, the mirrored city. The air trembles and a breath of change passes. Okay, I think I can live with that. Varkas is to the southeast. We'll mark it on our charts. Didn't really need to because we can see the walls right here, so this should be easy enough. I don't remember Varkas. I remember Apis Meat. I remember the tree thing. This might be the city where everything is lit up and you have to be gone before nightfall or something like that. I don't know. The burning white light of Varkas. The wild city of Varkas is a tangle of green vines and luminescent fungal flowers slow blooming around moldering stone. A quincunx of carved step towers rise over the walls and pour burning white light into the bleak sky. A rough shadowed path leads from the docks to the mirrored gates of Varkas. Two towering carved stone lamps throw their light on the angled mirrors, and a blue-soaked guard stands in the reflected pool of light. The city is a beacon against the tree-hushed, sprawling darkness of the elder continent. In the far distance, a vast mountain glimmers. You can choke on the smell. Sailors wave you over. You can ask a guard a few questions. We can get a port report. I'll probably do that first. Tone down the details of the light and its brilliance. You don't want to inspire envy in the Admiralty staff. And then sailors wave you over. I'd like to go through. What are gates for if not to go through? She makes a mark on her ledger before ringing a brass bell. The mirrors of the gates rearrange to give you a space to pass, but never once allow shadow to touch the guard. Our ways are not yours, Thomas. Remember that and walk in the light of me here. Your eyes are blinded by the brilliance of the light, and the verdant rot smell is even thicker. The heat of so much flame and reflected light presses oppressively against your skin, and your head pounds. It's a few minutes before your eyes adjust and you can look around. Brass lamps and gilded sconces hang from every wall, and phosphorescent fungus grows like moss on doorways and ceilings. Cunningly arranged mirrors catch every droplet of light and diffuse it till each cobblestone and rampart of the city is drenched in blazing and utterly without shadow. Who will you speak to? We can go with the firekeeper. We can go with a white-cloaked guard, a fungus carter, the jeweled-turbaned youth. Continue your explorations in the outer district. Let's start here. Firekeeper. I'm just going to work my way down the list. I am too important to play guide to you, Thomas, she says before you open your mouth. I'm the keeper of the western principal mirror. She points up at the enormous multi-faced mirrors set atop each city's 5 towers. I'm only here because I'm looking for my idiot brother. He's probably busy pouring wine down some pretty dark-eyed boy's throat in the tavern. Is it a matter of great urgency, you wonder? He's late for his lamp checks in the sacred district, is her terse reply as she hurries away. If the Agnihotri found out, he'd be lucky to end up a lake treasure. Okay, white-cloaked guard. Thomas, he presses his hands together in greeting, then gives you an anguished look. You look terrible. Are you sick with the terrible outsider's disease? Or is that what your nose is naturally like? Over your protestations, he gives you directions to the hospital. Oh, the medics are all butchers, to be sure, but they walk in the light of Mihir, he adds breezily, and then points out the guardhouse and the vague direction of the Temple of Mihir, and a street of bars and gaming houses. We don't want to get a reputation for being inhospitable. He laughs as if he made a grand joke, and you laugh along weakly. Okay, the jewel-turbaned youth. He looks utterly overjoyed to make your acquaintance, the bangles on his wrist flashing as he presses his hands together in greeting. My friends and I would be honored if you would attend a small gathering with us, Thomas. We are eager to hear about the world outside of Arcus' city walls. It seems innocuous enough of an invitation, but then why does his gaze dart around so anxiously as he tells you how to find his mansion in the Eastern District? So we've got an invitation 1 to the outer district, I guess. We can go to... I don't know. Go to the hospital, I guess. Feeling a little fevered? You hope to learn medical secrets, or perhaps you just enjoy the moans and flushed faces of the sick and suffering. Charitable Hospital is a long, galleried building divided into a series of curtain wards with their own light sources and mirror series. A dour-faced nurse glances at you expectantly. Which ward are you here to visit? Let's go to the mirrored room, I guess. Offer the services of the haunted doctors. Yeah, sure. The dour-faced nurse watches you carefully as you assist the doctor in cleaning wounds and changing bandages. She gives you a satisfied nod. The guards are pleased to have a new attendant and call you Nurse Thomas with warm, welcome mockery, which makes you feel a part of their crew. The doctor essays a cautious smile. You see the nurse watch him considerably. Good work, she says at the end of your shift, handing you each a cup of steaming mushroom tea. It revives you greatly. You detect a hint of tree sap liquor at the bottom of the cup and something else. Something of the south. Wow, we got like 1 to every stat. That's great. Or like half of our stats anyways. Cool stuff. And then I think we're pretty much out of time for right now. Wait. Oh, it just forgot to count our... Did it? I'm not sure what it did there. Cool. We will go to the mirrorless room then. The ward is locked several times over. And the dour-faced nurse looks uncomfortable when you mention it. That is where we keep the mirror mad, she says with a shudder. The mirrors whispered to them. Instead of going to the sun priest, they whispered back. And you just abandon them in a locked room? We don't despise them. They're given food and water. Tending the mirror mad uses up almost as much fuel as Mihir's temple, because they can only be lit with direct lamplight. We don't dare let them near any mirrors. She shudders again. The mirror mad are worse than Thomas. They no longer serve Mihir, but other powers, those that speak in dreams and visions. She refuses to say anything else. I guess we can go to the open ward. Most of these wounds happened outside the city on hunting expeditions or trade missions, the dour-faced nurse explains severely, raising her voice, which is why most of these malingerers are guards. The patient nearest to her pretends to swoon. But what would I do away from your gentle, tender gaze, O fair nurse? He clasps his hand to his bosom. Surely I would wither and perish. We'll see who withers when I give your sponge bath, she retorts. and her patient draws up the blankets meekly, though his mouth still curves up in a smile. How many do I have? I'm at 404. Fungal infections ward. The dour-faced nurse ties a mask around your face before leading you into the ward, which is set over 2 floors. The first thing you notice is the patient's constant racking coughs. We gave them syrups and remedies, the nurse tells you, but lung bloom is a chronic condition. Coughing is the only symptom in the milder cases, but as you walk further, you begin to see hands and feet covered in mold, and then chest budding with little mushroom cups and lichen, and even a young girl with a fringed red-orange fungal flower blooming in place of an eye. It's the fungus harvester's disease, the dour-faced nurse tells you sadly, pulling you away. It only gets worse in the heat and the light, but what can we do? Damn, son. I think we're done for the day. We gotta leave. I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you for stopping on in. They've assigned us to a room. I suppose we'll figure that out later. Hi, do, and I'll see you when we go to get our respite. Bye, everybody.